What do you do for a living, Janelle?
I work at a factory,
What town do you live in?
St. Croix Falls.
In Wisconsin?
Yes.
Do you recall July 30th of 2022?
Yes, I do.
Were you part of the Carlson family group that was tubing down the Apple River on that day?
I was.
Are you related to the Carlsons?
No.
Friend of the family?
Yes.
Do you... One second. Approach the witness.
Yes, you may.
Janelle, I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit, I guess, 26A. You recognize that?
I do.
Can you tell us what it is?
It's a photo of all of us together.
All right, and are you in this picture?
I am in the black swimming suit.
All right. Are you drinking or not drinking?
In that photo, I am not drinking.
Okay. Is it fair to say that you did have some drinks that day, though?
I did.
Can you tell us what you had to drink?
We had stopped at a riverbank. I got offered a shot of butterscotch schnapps, and then I had, I believe it was a Truly's or Budweiser. Actually, it was probably both. I cannot remember exactly what I drank.
You know how many drinks you had?
For sure the one shot and probably a total of one beer. I had been trying different flavors of everybody else's, but I never finished the full beer of my own.
Do you feel like you were impaired that day?
No.
All right. At some point while your group was going down the river, did you come across a disturbance of some sort?
We did.
What did you see when you first noticed the disturbance?
I was laying back in my inner tube and I was taking a little nap, and all of a sudden my friend Riley had tapped me on the shoulder saying, "Hey, let's go check it out." So I got up and I followed behind her. I could hear a lot of commotion, but I could not make out distinctive voices or what they were saying or anything. And yeah, that's how it started.
When you followed Riley over, did you hear any specific words or phrases?
I did not hear anything specific.
It's fair to say there was some yelling going on.
Oh, for sure, yes.
Did you see Madison Cohen when that occurred?
I did. She was already up there
All
by
right,
the
what was-
time I had gotten there.
What was Madison Cohen doing?
I actually did hear Maddie yelling, swearing at the gentleman and telling him to get the F out of here.
Okay, which gentleman was that?
Huh?
Who was she yelling at?
Oh, it was Nikolai Miu.
All right. At the time, did you know who he was?
I did not.
You know now?
Yes.
Did you see Maddie yelling at Mr. Mew?
Yes.
And you heard it?
Yes.
Did you see Mr. Mew react in some fashion?
At first he was just standing there kind of like looking at everybody, and then I could not see his hand punch her, but I could see like his left shoulder had dropped like a little bit, and then I could see, I believe maybe it was part of his elbow, because Maddie was impairing my view of everything. But I had seen the right side of her face turn towards me, and she kind of stumbled down and got back up and then walked away.
Did you see Mr. Mew's hand or fist make contact with Maddie's face?
I did not see it make contact, no.
All right. Did you saw the reaction?
Yes.
After Mr. Mew did whatever he did to Maddie, what happened next?
A lot of chaos and yelling broke out. I remember seeing Dante run up immediately and punch him in the face, yelling, "You never hit a woman." I saw Nikolai punch Dante back. Then I believe that I saw Dante hit Nikolai once more. I thought it was a punch, but I did watch the video and later found out that he was smacking him.
All right. Whereabouts were you standing when that all occurred, when Dante hit Mr. Mew?
I was a little ways behind Riley. I don't know any of the boys in the group that I was standing next to, but I was standing back a little ways.
All right.
To the back and to the right of Maddie and Riley, a little ways.
Did you see AJ Martin get stabbed?
I did not.
Did you see Dante get stabbed?
I did not.
Do you know who Isaac Schumann is?
I do, I know of him now, but no, I did not know him.
Or at the time, did you see Isaac Schumann get stabbed?
I did not.
Did you see Riley Madison get stabbed?
I did.
All right. Can you describe what happened when you saw Riley get stabbed?
She had backed up away from the commotion a little bit, and I had seen Nikolai walk up to him, and then he came and he just, I thought it was like a little punch towards her ribs, and until he had removed his hand, I saw the knife come out of my friend's side.
All right, can you describe the knife?
It was no more than like 2 inches. It was very small.
All right.
That's all I could see.
And just so I understand, you didn't see the knife until he removed it from her body?
Correct.
What did he do after he stabbed Riley?
I didn't pay too much attention to him after he did that. I was a little preoccupied and trying to grab her and remove her from the situation. I did take one last look at him. It looked like he was coming towards me, so I no and walked away with Riley.
All right, did you render assistance to Riley?
Yes, I did. I got her back to Q and Sheena and told them to take her downriver and get help. And then when I turned back around, I had seen Tony standing next to AJ, so I ran up to them and I helped Tony drag AJ to the shore. Tried to make sure that they were as okay as they could be before I went to try to go help as much as I could.
Did you see Tony get stabbed?
I did not.
Did you see that he was injured when you?
I did.
We're going to show you some still frames from the video. We're going to start at 28:59. Your Honor, I guess I'll caution there are some graphic portions of the string I'm going to play, so just fair warning to everybody if there's people in the courtroom who want to leave or whatever.
Thank you for alerting everyone to that fact.
All right, Janelle, I'm showing you still frame 2859 from the video. Who's the woman up in the upper left corner with the blue and pink swimsuit?
That is Riley Madison.
All right, in this picture, is she bleeding yet?
No, it does not appear to be so.
And who's the person in the middle?
Nikolai?
Scroll forward. Stop. All right, we're showing you photo 2859. Who's the woman in the black swimsuit up in the upper right corner?
That is me.
Is that where you were standing when this all occurred?
Yes.
Pardon me, Judge, it was 2871. In this frame, is Riley off to your right
Yes, she is.
behind Mr. Mew?
Yes.
All right. At the time that Mr. Mew stabbed Riley, had she done anything to him in this context?
From what I remember seeing, no, I would have sworn that she did not touch him, but after seeing the footage, I saw that she did.
Well, I'm talking about
Oh.
this portion of the,
I would not be able to pinpoint if that was before or after she was.
all right. We're going to continue to play the stills here.
Okay.
All right, we're going to scroll forward here. Stop. We're showing you 2926. Is that you still in the frame?
Yes, sir.
Are you looking at Mr. Mew?
I believe so. It looks like I am, yes.
Did you notice anything in his right hand?
At that time, no, I did not.
You see his right hand? Did you see his right hand moving out like?
I did. I did.
Sustained.
What's shown in the picture? Did you see that happen as far as Mr. Mew's hand?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What you see in this still, is that what you saw on the river at this point in time
Oh, yes.
with regard to Mr. Mew's body?
Yes.
Scroll forward. stop. We're showing still 29:47. At this point, is Riley back in the frame?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, what does she look like? Is she injured?
Yes. She just got stabbed.
All right, and that's my question. Is this the point in the video where you saw Mr. Mew stab Riley Madison?
Yes.
And you're standing how far away?
What would that be? About 4 or 5 feet?
All right, and as you watched the stills go through, well, we'll strike that. Is Riley facing away from him?
Yes, she is.
Prior to Riley being stabbed, at this point in time, was she laying any hands on him?
That I remembered had seen, no, I did not.
You had testified that at one point you do remember seeing you testified that when you reviewed the video, you saw at one point Riley touching Mr. Mew.
I did.
Was it at that point or at some earlier point?
It was earlier.
After, we'll strike that. You've answered that. We're going to continue to scroll through from where we stopped. And we're stopped at 3024. Did you watch that string of frames?
I did.
Did you see yourself in that string?
I did.
What were you doing?
Judge, can we approach for 2 seconds?
Yes. Let's continue. Excuse me, let's continue.
Did that string of frames show what you did after she was stabbed?
Yeah, you can briefly see me grab her arm and try to get her out.
All right. After this all happened, did you call for help?
It was after I had turned and told Riley to go to Q and to Sheena. After I had turned around and saw AJ, I ran up to him and I was helping kind of hold him together. And I had looked at Gabby Kay and I had yelled 3 times to call the police. I did not have a phone on me that day.
All right. I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Troffison?
Ms. Duxbury, in terms of, you watched the video in preparation for your testimony?
Correct.
Okay. What I'm gonna ask is that you try your best to testify from your memory.
Understood.
Okay. And, do you recall, so I guess I'll ask it this way. Initially, you said that you were kind of laying in your tube with your head back, just kind of relaxing, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you provided a statement to the police on the 31st of July 2022, right?
I believe it was, I provided two of them, and I thought they were the same day, the 30th, but I did provide a statement, correct?
Okay, and do you recall initially when you're sitting on the tubes, you're near Quentin Carlson, is that true? When you're on when you guys are all kind of floating down the tubes?
I honestly don't remember who all I was really sitting next to. I remember I was sitting next to Riley and my husband at the time, but I really don't remember who I was like right next to.
I guess my point is Quentin Carlson's in your group.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Okay. Do you recall him asking Dante and Anthony to go over to make sure that Mr. Mew's not going to get beat up?
I do not.
Okay. Your first recollection is, if this is fair, is Riley saying, let's check it out.
Yes,
right?
yes.
All right. And you tell police on the 31st that your first recollection is Dante running up to the suspect and standing between him and the other people, right?
Correct.
Okay. Is that your memory today?
Yes,
Okay, so Dante, your memory is Dante's the first one out up to the group of other tubers, right?
yes,
All right. And then you believe, based on your statement, that you, Madison, and Riley then follow Dante.
yes.
Right?
Yes, I wasn't too familiar with Madison at the time. I had only met her maybe like twice.
Okay, but my point is,
Yes,
my point is, your recollection is Dante goes up first, then the three of you follow him, right?
yes.
And I think you hear somebody yell for Anthony Carlson to come up as well, right?
Yes, there were several people that were yelling for Tony to get up there.
All right. And the goal, according to your statement, was to build a wall, right?
Correct.
Okay. You have no idea what's happening, do you?
Not a clue.
Okay. And you say that Dante runs up to Mr. Mew. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay. To your knowledge, does he have any information as to what's happening?
No.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
And you're going to build a wall without having any information as to what's happening in that situation, right?
Correct.
And you don't hear anybody yelling anything prior to you going up to build that wall, right?
I could hear the commotion, but I could not make out distinct words.
Okay. And you don't know if Mr. Mew's with any other group, do you?
I do not.
Okay. You see him alone though, right?
What appeared to be alone, correct.
Okay. And you say that today you say Maddie goes up and is yelling at him, right?
Correct.
Okay. And is that what you remember telling the police?
I guess I honestly don't know if I had told them that or not.
You go up to build a wall. Why?
Because there was a very clear confrontation between the group of children and then Nikolai, so at least to divide the conflict was at least my idea.
So you believed at that point there was a confrontation that was taking place, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And you hear Maddie yelling at him, is that right?
I do, Yes.
And you hear she's swearing at him, true?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in your statement, you initially said that Maddie went up there to, quote, try to mellow things out. You recall that?
I do not remember using those choice of words, but
If I told you that your interview with Investigator Schultz is recorded, and on that interview, those are the words that you used, do you have any reason to dispute that?
oh, no.
Okay. So when you say, or when you told Investigator Schultz that Maddie went up there to try to mellow things out, is that true?
I had to have said that. That is true, yes.
I understand that you said that. Do you believe that's what she was doing, was mellowing things out?
No.
She was yelling at him, swearing at him, right?
Correct.
Okay. And do you recall her pointing at him to go down river?
I recall her pointing beyond him, but yes, she was pointing and gesturing.
And yelling, go,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you took that, if this is fair, as her telling him where she's pointing, go that way, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you say that you believe there's a confrontation that's going on, right?
Correct.
Okay. Do you recall after Maddie, well, let me ask you this. Do you see Mr. Mew attempting to speak to Maddie about what's happening?
I do not. Like I said, I really couldn't see much. I'm vertically challenged and I couldn't see past people's heads and shoulders even, so.
Tell me about that for a minute. I missed the first, your what challenge?
I'm vertically challenged. I'm short. I couldn't see everything.
Right.
Sorry.
So your height, or lack thereof, has it makes it sometimes difficult for you to see things.
Yeah, I couldn't see past people's shoulders or heads or anything, no.
Okay. And do you see these other tubers, the people that you are saying he's in a confrontation with, Mr. Mew, do you see them after Maddie's there and you guys are there? Do you see them kind of surround him and start to taunt him?
I've checked, Your Honor, to the term surrounds.
Overruled.
I did not notice that. I did definitely notice like it did seem to be a little taunting, yes.
Okay, and the taunting was going on by the other tubers in part, right?
Correct.
Okay. But you don't have a recollection specifically of what they were doing in terms of the taunting?
No, I heard some people still yelling. It sounded like some laughter, but it wasn't necessarily distinct. And that was by the time that we had actually gotten up there.
Right, so when you get up there, then is when you can probably see a little better and hear a little better, right?
Correct.
Okay. So in terms of the confrontation, you agree that it is this group of 6 plus your group, yes? Together?
Correct. Yes.
And Mr. Mew's alone, right?
Yes.
Okay. So at that point, is it fair to say that you have some concern, because Mr. Mew's alone, that this confrontation can go poorly for him, right?
Oh, I still had concern it could go poorly for either party. But I see what you're saying, and yes, he was a part of the concern.
Okay. And to be fair, part of that is based on him being by himself, true?
Correct.
Okay. Would you agree that Maddie was in Mr. Mew's face? You'd agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Okay. She was in his, as it's been described, in his personal space, true?
True.
Okay. And tell me if this is fair. When you see Mr. Mew make contact with Maddie, I know that you had said that it was I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you remember specifically, you said he dropped a shoulder, right? You mentioned that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see specifically what happens?
I could not see, but putting puzzle pieces together, yes, I could tell that he had punched her.
Okay, so you didn't see the punch, you just believe based on reasoning that that's what happened?
Yes.
Okay. When that happens, she's standing in front of him, right?
Correct.
She's standing in his face, correct?
Correct.
She's in his personal space, correct?
Correct.
And do you remember Riley standing next to her?
I honestly do not. I thought I was like right behind her the entire time.
When you say her, I'm sorry.
Riley, I thought Riley was like right in front of me the entire time. I do not remember Riley being so close.
Okay, but having watched the video now, you know that your recollection from your memory isn't correct.
That is correct.
All right. So now do you know that Riley's standing next to Madison?
I do.
Okay. And you don't see this punch in particular or this movement, but you see you see Madison do what?
She had, again, her back was facing me, and then all of a sudden I saw her turn, but it was leading with her head. So her head had turned, so I saw the right side of her face, and then her body had followed, and then she had stumbled down to her knees, and she got back up and then started running. I believe it was her and Gabby that started running back to Q and Sheena.
You described Mr. Mew in your original statement to Investigator Schultz as you described him as standing over her. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
After you say she goes down.
yeah, I would still stand by that.
So you would say that you see her head move, she goes down to a knee or goes down. He then, does he move toward her?
Oh, I wouldn't say he necessarily moved towards her, but he definitely just stood above her.
And how?
Oh, I was just gonna say, she didn't get like launched. She literally just kind of did like a little 180 and fell down right where she was standing.
Okay. She's, if you remember, I'll ask it to you two ways. From your memory, do you remember that she was holding a drink at the time?
I didn't, I know that she was holding stuff, but I could not tell you what she was holding.
Okay. And how long, in terms of time, passes from, no, this is your memory. How long passes from the time that you see her make her movement and go down until Dante gets involved?
Oh, that was like a second.
Okay. And do you agree on you've watched the video?
Yes.
Do you agree on the video, it doesn't show Madison falling down or going down, right?
No, I would agree with that.
And you'd agree that what you've seen on the video, she doesn't drop her drink either, right?
No, I would agree with that.
Okay, and she's holding, I don't know if you remember this, she's holding not only a drink, but a vape in her hand as well, right?
Okay.
Okay. Those things don't fall, right?
Correct.
Even though she falls, they stay in her hand, right?
Correct.
And her cell phone, do you remember her cell phone is like up in her swimsuit?
But I don't recall, but not surprised.
Okay. And do you remember on the video, her cell phone doesn't fall either, right?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Now, do you ever see her being Madison? Do you ever see her stop and pick up her sunglasses?
No, that wasn't anything that I paid, no.
Okay. Prior to Madison getting in Mr. Mew's personal space and in his face, you don't see him being aggressive, true?
True.
Okay. He doesn't verbally say anything that you would describe as being aggressive, right?
Correct. He said nothing at all that I heard.
Okay. And you don't see him doing anything physically that you would consider to be aggressive either, right?
Aggressive, no, but the way he was standing there and just, it was a very expressionless, hollow, almost like a demonic look in his face. Like I don't know how else to describe it other than his eyes did not look human. Very daunting.
You would agree at that point there's approximately 13 people around him, yes?
It had to have been somewhere around that number, correct?
Okay. Based on what you saw, now I know that you said you didn't see Mr. Mew being aggressive or saying anything. Based on what you said he looked like, were you fearful of him?
Yes.
Okay. You then say that you see Dante strike Mr. Mew, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you believe from your memory that Mr. Mew goes down? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And then Mr. Mew stands back up?
Correct.
And then you believe that Mr. Mew punches Dante?
Correct.
Okay. Then you believe that Dante punched Mr. Mew again and knocked him into the water again, right?
Correct.
You know that's not true after watching the video, right?
I do.
Okay. So, can I ask you this? You had mentioned that you were fearful based on the way that Mr. Mew looked, right?
Correct.
And you would agree that at that point, you've already said there's 13 people around Mr. Mew, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're in his face, some of them.
I would.
Objection, Your Honor, mischaracterization of the evidence.
Again, members of the jury, you are the judges of the facts. The statements of the lawyers are not evidence. Rely on what the witness says, not what the lawyer is saying.
You've testified that at least Madison Cohen's in his face.
Correct.
She has people next to her and around her, right?
Correct.
They're clearly supporting her, right?
Correct.
He's alone,
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
yes?
Correct.
She's yelled at him, swore at him, and she's, as you say, she's screaming at him, right?
Correct.
Okay. Reasonable that he's in fear as well, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Do you see A.J. Martin come in after Mr. Mew is punched in the face? Do you see him shove Mr. Mew from behind?
I did not.
You didn't see that?
I did not see it.
Okay. You know after watching the video that's what happened though, right?
I do know that, yes.
And you did or did not see when Mr. Martin, I know you said you didn't see Mr. Martin shove him. Did you see Dante come up and strike Mr. Mew in the face for the third time? Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Okay. But you know from the video that's true, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you were asked by Investigator Schultz, when the suspect was stabbing people, what were those people doing? And your answer was, nobody was touching him, right?
I believe that was my answer, correct, yes.
Okay. And you know that's not true though, right?
Obviously, yes.
You know from watching the video that everyone that we can see on the video that's injured had put their hands on Mr. Mew, right?
Objection, Your Honor, it's again, mischaracterization.
I'll say the same thing. Jury, you are the judges of the facts. What the lawyers say is not evidence. Listen to the witnesses.
You know that from watching the video, right?
I know that Tony did not touch him in a violent way, but that is correct.
Okay. And you didn't put your hands on him at all, right?
I did not.
And nothing happened to you, right?
The way he was looking at me and the way he was starting to step towards me, it is all speculation, but I was 1,000% sure I was going to get a knife in the back as I was running away with Riley.
Did you get a knife?
Obviously did not.
Did he touch you in any way?
No, he did not.
And you also agree that you told police that your group had formed kind of a semicircle around him. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and you stand by that. True?
I do.
Okay. Did you, at the time you gave your statement to police, did you view Madison Cohen as kind of the peacekeeper here?
No.
Okay, you mentioned that you said that she was there to mellow things out, right?
Again, that was just a very poor choice of words. But yeah, I remember saying that. Sorry.
Because it was actually the opposite, right?
Objection, Your Honor, this is materially covered, asked and answered.
Sustained. Let's move on.
Do you have a specific recollection of seeing Riley get stabbed from your memory?
I remember seeing the knife exiting her body.
Okay. Do you have a specific recollection of what Riley was doing prior to that?
Prior to that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, do you mean like moments before the knife
Correct.
entered her? She was just standing there from my recollection.
You don't have a recollection of her moving toward Mr. Mew?
No, I do not.
Okay. You do or do not have a recollection of seeing Isaac Schumann?
I do not know.
Okay. So, and when you say you don't have a recollection of seeing the interaction that he had with Mr. Mew?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Stark.